It's 9:51. You can see the time here. At 9:49, they were 1.6. And my blood sugars were 75, which gives me a GKI of 2.604. It is Saturday at 9:51 a.m. It is Saturday morning, the morning before my cheat. I have not taken any supplements yet. That was just a fasted reading. I will be taking blood sugar support in a few hours, probably like right before I head out to have a cheat meal. I'll take 4 of these. And then I will also take some digestive enzymes. I always like to take digestive enzymes with a meal that has nutrients that I have not been consuming, because it just helps the body to digest them. So if I haven't consumed a lot of carbs all week and suddenly I'm going to have a surge of carbs, my body needs a little bit of help digestively. But that's all I do in terms of additional supplementation on cheat days. And then I'll go over specifically what I do tomorrow, but we'll wait until I get there. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just showing you what my ketones are the morning of my cheat. I will also do a reading 1 hour after, approximately 1 to 2 hours after the cheat meal, which presumably I would assume I will be kicked out of ketosis, but we'll see. And then I will do another reading tomorrow morning, which would be 24 hours after the current reading that you just saw. So that will just show you what my body does in terms of cheat meal. I know that there appears to be some controversy. I'll get some people that say it's impossible that I'm still in ketosis after my cheat meal. The body just doesn't work that way. Just trying to show you what my body does. Again, this is not for everybody, and my body hasn't always reacted that way. This is something that I've been on a low carb lifestyle for 6 years, specifically ketogenic for over 3 now, and I'm extremely fat adapted. I don't overeat on my cheat days. That's important to keep in mind, but I also return back to ketosis very, very fast. It used to take me 3 to 4 days. Now it's 12 hours or so, 12 to 24 hours, no more than that. But anyways, I just wanted to fully document it for you guys so that you see in terms of timestamps and supplements and whatever else I do and take. So that's what this video is all There's the aftermath. Everything consumed. So an entire burrito. In the burrito, steak, cheese, refried beans, and the tortilla with some salsa, half of that guac, half of that basket of chips. So in terms of a treat on cheat day, I like to make it a little cleaner than just going full force with the sugar. So this is a caramel sauce that I make because I'm going to make an ice cream sundae shortly, and it will include some of this caramel sauce on top. All this is Swerve in the brown sugar, vanilla chalk zero syrup, some butter, and then heavy cream. So here is the sundae. It's got the low carb oven baked like chocolate chip cookie on the bottom, half a pint of enlightened ice cream, almond milk, whipped cream, and a caramel sauce that I made. And that is it. That concludes cheat. All right, you guys, I'm back from the cheat meal. I had a burrito, half of the chips that you saw there, half of that guacamole, my entire burrito, and 2 cocktails. But the cocktails had just soda water, no sugar in them. But I did consume quite a bit of carbs. It's been about 1 full hour since I ate, which that's the peak of your insulin spike and all of that. So I'm going to test my ketones right now for reference. Sorry guys. So low. Out of ketosis 1 hour after my cheat meal. That is what I would expect, because that's what's going to happen. The 1 hour after you eat, that's the peak of like your insulin spike and your blood sugar and all of that. So I will also test my blood sugar, and I would expect it to be significantly affected as well. Okay, so that's where we are at about 1.5 hours after consuming the burrito, the chips and the guacamole, and in my enlightened ice cream sundae, and about 2,000 calories total. My burrito, my chips, guac, about 1,500, and then my sundae an additional 500, so about 2,000, which is kind of like my maintenance calories. That's what I burned. That's what, by the end of the day, that's what I will have burned. And so that is what I normally do. This is kind of like my normal pattern. So now it is about 6 p.m. I will test my ketones tomorrow morning. So probably around 9 p.m. or so. So in 15 hours. So in 15 hours is when I will test my ketones again. And at that point in time is when I am usually right back into ketosis. I will test them on an empty stomach with no exogenous ketones, no supplements or anything like that. Just when I wake up tomorrow morning, I will test, and then I will let you guys know. One more thing I should add. I'm about to take 4 more blood sugar support, because I usually take 4 before the meal, 4 when I'm done cheating, and that's it in terms of supplementation. But then, yeah, so I will retest tomorrow morning on a completely empty stomach, and we will see where I'm at. Good morning, guys. I am about to test my ketones for you. It is about 13 hours since I had my last cheat, or whatever you want to call it. So we'll see what is going on with my ketones. And then I will go over with you guys just more in depth about ketones and how your body responds and what to expect and things like that. Charles has to be with me. I literally kind of just woke up. I need to still get my workout in. I also wanted to show you, not really very bloated. That's thanks to, I would say, the digestive enzyme. I definitely feel the water though. I always feel like a little swollen in my face. All I do for that is drink extra water today. And that's pretty much it. Then you'll kind of pee it out. All right, so let's see these, if there's any ketones. .8. So it's a very consistent result for me in terms of I just don't get kicked out of ketosis very long. All right, just want to test my blood sugars and see what is going on there. Although my cheat meal yesterday was the burrito, the chips, the guac, some cocktails. My treat afterwards, my dessert, was obviously not full-blown regular sugar and all of that, but it still had quite a bit of sugar in it, because the half a pint of enlightened ice cream is about 12 grams of sugar for that, and then a little bit of sugar in some of the other stuff that I put in. So maybe about, I had maybe about 15 grams of sugar in that dessert. Much better than like the 75 from a regular sundae, but regardless. Anyways, here's my blood sugar, 79. As you can see, this is just the very first thing in the morning, right after my cheat yesterday. And I've got a pretty healthy GKI already. Okay, you guys, so let's talk about why I'm able to go back to ketosis so quickly after a cheat meal. It has everything to do with the fact that I'm fat adapted. What that means is I have been practicing the ketogenic diet for a pretty good amount of time now, and my cells have adapted to using fats as fuel. Fats are now the preferred fuel source. When you're early on in your ketogenic journey, even if you get yourself into a state of ketosis, your body still prefers glucose. Glucose is easier to convert into energy than fats. So the minute you provide your body with some glucose, it will switch back over to being a sugar burner rather than a fat burner, just because it's easier. So because I am fat adapted, as soon as my body burns through the glycogen that I put into it with the cheat meal, it goes right back into ketosis like autopilot. And so since I don't overeat on my cheat meals, that takes about 12 hours or so to burn through that glycogen, gets right back into ketosis, right back to making ketones, because that's where it's comfortable. So that would explain why about 12 to 13 hours later, I am testing positive for ketones again at 0.8. I think it's important for me to point out that early on in my keto journey, it would take me about 3 to 4 days to get back into ketosis. I know that I wasn't fat adapted yet, but I still implemented the weekly cheat meal because for me, that is what kind of kept me on track all of the other 6 days. And so I knew that even though technically maybe it was setting me back a little bit, in the long run for long-term sustainability of this lifestyle, I knew it would be something important for me to implement. But if you want to speed up the fat adaptation process in the beginning and you think you can handle no cheat meals, it may be beneficial for you to wait that 3 to 6 weeks before you're fully fat adapted, before incorporating the cheat meal. Although I find that with people that wait, what happens is once they incorporate the cheat meal, it's kind of like it bursts open the floodgates, and in most cases, they have a hard time reeling it back in and keeping it to one meal. Rather than if you just implement the one meal a week right from the very beginning, you know you're never more than 1 week out of enjoying the things that you crave. So that sometimes, in my experience in dealing with people, is a little better in terms of long-term sustainability. So for those that want to incorporate a weekly cheat meal right off the bat, you'll need to know that yes, you are going to get kicked out of ketosis. Doesn't necessarily mean that you are not going to progress on those days that you're not in ketosis, because you're still eating, your proper macronutrients and you're still at a caloric deficit for weight loss. And then you can follow some post-cheat day or post-cheat meal protocol to kind of speed up the process of getting back into ketosis. Some of those intermittent fasting as long as you possibly can the next day, along with just keeping your carbs very, very low. So you've got plenty of glycogen from your cheat meal. You don't need to give yourself any more glycogen, because the key is you need to deplete all of that glycogen and force your body to start making ketones again. So keep your fats up and your proteins up, keep your carbs low. Drink lots of water, because you want to flush out the water retention from the carbohydrate meal. And then you also want to take electrolytes so that you can avoid any of those keto flu symptoms. You can expect it to take you anywhere from 1 to 5 days to get back into ketosis. The best way to know for sure is how many days did it take you to get into ketosis initially when you first started keto. It's never going to take longer than that. But what will happen is over time, it will start taking you less and less time to get back into ketosis. Now let's talk about exercise and ketones. I have a lot of my clients actually that are concerned about this, and just a lot of people in general ask me this question. They are reluctant to exercise because when they test their ketones after exercise, they are knocked out of ketosis. Do not avoid exercise because you're afraid of getting knocked out of ketosis. The reason why your ketones drop significantly after working out is simply because you are using them. This is a good thing. Think about your ketones as like a ketone gas tank, okay? Your body is using ketones for energy. It is creating ketones out of fat, right? And so when you deplete those ketones, your body needs to make more so that you can function on ketones. You are naturally going to deplete ketones when you work out because you're using energy in order to work out. So it is a good sign when you see that your ketones drop after an exercise. It means your body knows to use ketones for energy to get through the workout. So rather than be scared of this or think it's a bad thing, celebrate it. It's actually a good thing. If you are not using ketones during exercise, it means your body hasn't really figured out how to use ketones for energy and perhaps might still be using glycogen. So really important to not, go after those really high ketone numbers. It's really not necessary unless you are using the ketogenic diet for health reasons, for mental therapy, neurology, things like that, where you have to have a certain GKI or a certain ketone level. Otherwise, signs of lower ketones are actually a sign of someone that is very fat adapted because your body has become extremely efficient at using those ketones. Once those ketones are depleted, the body will then convert more fat into ketones so that it has more energy. All good things, guys. Now, early on in the keto process, if you are not fat adapted yet and your body hasn't quite figured out how to use, how to convert ketones, convert fat into ketones easily and use them, you might see regularly higher ketone numbers even after exercise, or your body may have a hard time converting fatty acids into ketones once those ketones are depleted. This is a good opportunity for you to use exogenous ketones, to replenish those ketones after exercise if your body still is not real efficient at making them. That way you'll avoid the keto flu, you'll avoid feeling sluggish, for things like that, you know what I mean? So I don't promote using ketones to get away with eating carbohydrates. That's not the purpose of ketones. Ketones are a really great tool just to replenish, to quickly replenish energy in your body after you've depleted it. So after a workout would be a great time to take some ketones so that you're nice and energized, since your body has depleted that ketone tank, or after a cheat day to avoid getting the keto flu symptoms and just to give your body an energy source. It's always a good time to use ketones. But if you are kicked out of ketosis after exercise, do not worry about it. Just give yourself some time or a fatty meal or just a couple of hours. Your body will start producing those ketones again. Again, it is a good thing. As you can see by my results, I tested much higher ketones before my workout. Immediately after my workout, these were my ketones. So I definitely had a significant drop by more than half. So for someone that is testing in the lower ketone levels, it can completely knock you out of ketosis, but not a bad thing. Don't stop exercising. Continue to exercise. It's only gonna, help you reach your goals that much faster. Now let's talk about when to test your ketone levels. I find that in terms of establishing a baseline and just kind of knowing where you're at, it's best to test at the same time every day. But don't over-test, and you don't have to test every day. But early on, I know it's exciting, and I know you want to see how your body's responding to certain things, and you do get to know a lot about how your body reacts to things. But I recommend testing every morning on an empty stomach. So before coffee, before exercise, before consuming anything at all, test your ketones as well as your blood sugars. Now, important to know that testing first thing in the morning isn't necessarily going to be your highest reading, but it doesn't need to be. You just kind of need to know where you're at. But it is important not to test during these particular times, okay? Do not test right after eating or up to 2 hours after eating. So you want to be on an empty stomach, because no matter what you ate, your body is going to have some sort of insulin response. So it's going to skew those numbers, temporarily kick you out. So you don't need to worry about that. Test on an empty stomach. That's why I like testing in the morning. And number 2, don't test right after coffee, because coffee can also temporarily spike your blood sugars or drop your ketones. So don't test right after coffee. Don't test right after working out. You may be kicked out because your body just used up a bunch of those ketones during that exercise. So don't test right after working out. So summary is test in the morning. Just when you wake up, test, jot it down, then every day do the same thing, and then you can kind of see where you're at. I like testing in the morning because that way, for example, when my clients test at the same time every morning, if their tests are showing maybe an elevated blood sugar or ketones lower than normal, that is what would signify me to take a look at what they ate in the prior 24 hours. So we can pinpoint what their body is sensitive to. Maybe they ate a little later in the day. Maybe they just, their total carbs was a little high. Maybe they consumed too much of something, and it's easier for us to pinpoint instead of when they're testing all over the place, right? So test at the same time every day, easier to troubleshoot that way. It establishes a nice baseline, and it makes you, it reduces the risk of you kind of going crazy testing too many times. Over testing is kind of like weighing yourself multiple times a day. It's just not necessary. Finally, I just want to add that it's important to not get obsessed with or chase higher ketone levels. Higher ketone levels do not equal more fat loss. In fact, sometimes higher ketone levels can be an indication that you're just consuming too much dietary fat. Remember, your body is going to convert dietary fat into ketones before it taps into stored body fat. So if you're consuming way too much dietary fat, getting those ketone levels up super high, your body will never really have a reason to dip into that stored body fat. That's why intermittent fasting is such an excellent tool, because it allows those levels to drop and it forces your body to dip into stored body fats for fuel, which really is the goal in terms of body composition changes and weight loss. So don't chase the higher ketones. And so hopefully that was really helpful for you guys. So hopefully I covered a lot of the frequently asked questions regarding ketones. I get a lot of questions about this. If you have more questions, feel free to comment below. I will be replying to the comments. I'm happy to help you guys out. I know it gets really confusing, and it just can be frustrating for people sometimes. So hopefully this little video helped. Again, if you are not subscribing to my channel, please subscribe, like, comment, share this video. Really appreciate the support, trying to grow this baby YouTube channel into something a little bigger so that I can spend more time here. I love giving you guys information and just helping you along with your journey. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again next time.